And now, in studio, bringing his Midwest values from the Show Me State to the land of San Diego. He's a triple threat, licensed as an attorney, mortgage broker, and a top producing realtor who's crushing the competition. Here to deliver you what's happening in the trenches of the market. Your host, Michael Gaddis.
Welcome to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170 The Answer. I am your host, Michael Gaddis of michaelgaddis.com and frontierloangroup.com. And we have a very special Halloween version of the Michael Gaddis Show going on tonight. And we actually have a very, very special guest. We actually have a medium coming in for segment 2 and segment 3. So stay tuned, and she's going to talk about everything from intuition to crossing over to speaking to your passed away loved ones to even talking about Ouija boards. So that's between segments 2 and 3. But, you know, I wanted to start the show a little bit with Paul. Paul, you there?
I am here.
You know what? I want to talk about since it's Halloween and since this is obviously the spooky time of the year, I want to ask you, Paul, what are you scared of? What scares you?
Heights.
Heights?
Terrified of heights.
Heights?
Yeah.
So heights is your Achilles heel?
Absolutely.
Wow, you didn't even hesitate on that.
Oh, yeah.
There's no Walking Dead. There's nothing. It's heights.
Yeah.
So if you saw like a pod full of zombies coming at you, that's not that scary. But,
nah, I'm pretty fast. I can outrun them.
Yeah, you put me on top of the Empire State Building and I'm scared.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. You know what I'm scared of, Paul? Technology.
Really?
I'm frightened to death of it. Yes, because I'll tell you what, I saw a Twilight Zone episode a while back. And this Twilight episode, it wasn't one of the black and white ones. It was one of the ones that they had redone.
Okay.
And this episode was amazing to me because in this episode, it talks about the future. And in the future, people don't read books. They don't go to school. What happens in the future is they get these chips put into their head. And these chips tell them everything that they need to know. So if you're a doctor, you get a doctor chip. If you're a lawyer, you get a lawyer chip. If you're a mechanic, you get a mechanic chip, an engineer, and so on and so on. So in this particular episode, there's one guy, though, that the chip doesn't work on. And for some reason, his brain, the chemistry of his brain or whatever it is, it just doesn't gel well with the chip. So everyone thinks he's a challenged, student, right? I mean, a person, he's got disability because the chips won't work, and they make fun of him because he has to read and write. And so they always say, oh, why are you reading these books and everything like that? Well, what happens in the show is that the computer gets a virus and everybody's chip stops working. So nobody knows how to do anything except one guy. The one guy that they thought was mentally challenged, that had a disability, he was all of a sudden the only person who knew how to do anything. So he was the one that was teaching doctors how to be doctors again. He was the one that was teaching lawyers how to be lawyers. He was teaching them all. The reason, there's irony in that. Obviously, every Twilight Zone episode has irony, and that's the driving force of the Twilight Zone, which is when I was growing up, it was one of my favorite shows. Rod Serling, I think, is just a genius.
Absolutely. He wrote most of those episodes himself.
Just a genius is what the guy is. In fact, my son, who's 11 years old, he's obsessed with Twilight Zone too, and he is devastated, literally devastated that Disneyland is changing the Tower of Terror to something to do with Marvel.
Yeah, I'm right there with him. That bums me out. That was a great ride.
In fact, he's so obsessed with that ride in the Twilight Zone that he went as Halloween. In fact, we went to Disneyland for the Disney Halloween party, whatever it was, Saturday night. My wife had a special costume made for him. He was one of the Tower of Terror employees. So he has a little tower, like if you went there, whenever he wears it, they let him into the Tower of Terror, and they actually let him act like one of the employees because his uniform looks just like theirs, and you can't buy it anywhere. You have to have it made.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so he's very obsessed. So he was trick-or-treating at Disneyland, and all the Disneyland people were teasing him, going, you're going to be out of a job soon. You're going to be out of a job, which upset him because he's really big on the Twilight Zone. So anyway, back to my reason for I tell you the story about why I'm scared of technology. Well, when I saw when I saw that episode, it really sat with me. In fact, I saw a lot, but that one's the one that sat with me the most. I went to Not Scary Farm about 3 years ago. And Not Scary Farm, it's fun. It's fun to go to, but they have this show every year at Not Scary Farm, and every year they have they pretend they're celebrities up there and things. But I was there probably about a half an hour before the show, and my wife and I went. And most of the people who go to Not Scary Farm, admittedly, are teens and low 20s. I mean, they're younger people that like to be scared out of their wits by people jumping out of fog and dressed like maniacal clowns, and scared. They like to wet their pants, stuff like that. So, but they're all waiting for this show to start, and it's dark, it's outside, everybody is sitting in rows. There probably was 200 or 300 people sitting there. They were all looking at their phones at the same time. And then every time a noise would happen on stage, they would all look up from their phones, and then they would all look back. It was almost like they were being controlled. And I started thinking of that episode when I was seeing this. I'm like, this is insane. It's crazy.
They're kind of turning into zombies.
You're right. They are the Walking Dead. I mean, because they were looking up, looking down. And it was like they were doing it. They were synchronized. It was almost like something on their phone was telling them time to look up, time to look back down. And it happens all the time. And I'll tell you, this is something that really terrifies me, because I was at a stoplight going home from work on Thursday night. So I work late. So I was going home. It must have been like 7:45, 8 o'clock when I'm on my way home. So I stop at this stoplight in Vista, California. I'm going through Vista. And I pull up in the left-hand lane, and I'm stopped. And then the right-hand lane, the nearest car is like 5 cars up, maybe 6. So that lane is wide open. So I'm sitting there just minding my own business, waiting for the light to turn green. All of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see this white car fly by. And I could tell when I looked over really quick that the person is looking at their cell phone. And I'm like, wow, that's weird. I said, because my brain knew there was a stoplight, but he's going so fast, my brain's like, oh, maybe there's a way he's going to weave through traffic up there or something like that. Nope. The guy literally plowed into the back of that car, the SUV that was in the next lane. Just went, and I saw the whole thing. I saw the car strike. I saw the airbags deploy. I was terrified. I was like, I cannot believe that this phone distracted somebody to the point that they were oblivious to the fact that there was a red light with all these cars stopped here. It is scary.
And there's only going to be more technology when it comes to cars here coming out soon, because, in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to have self-driving cars.
Oh, I know. Maybe we need self-driving cars, because obviously people are getting to the point where they can't do it. And I'll tell you, millennials are the ones that scare me the most, because they're the ones that are extremely addicted to technology. I mean, extremely addicted to the technology, as Paul looks at his cell phone right now. Paul, it's scary. No, but I mean, here's the reality of this. We are becoming so dependent on technology that when anything occurs at all without technology, it causes almost like a shutdown of our brain. Like, for example, I've seen millennials that are so used to having their phone that if they don't have their phone even near them for 5 minutes, they start getting jittery. They're like, well, I need to find my phone. Well, it's over there. Don't worry about it. No, I need it near me. I have to have it. I mean, it's frightening what's going on out there. So different things frighten different people. So Paul's frightened by heights. I'm frightened by technology. I mean, what are you frightened of? I mean, think about that. What really terrifies you? Because here's another little thing none of you guys know about me. When I was in college, one of my dreams was to become a fiction writer. I wanted to write books. And one of the things that when you're writing, let's say, a scary story or a scary TV show or whatever it might be, you have to really look inside yourself and other people and say, what will terrify somebody? And just like the show The Walking Dead, the show The Walking Dead, is it really the zombies that scare you?
No, the people have become more scary than the zombies now.
The zombies, you know what they're going to do. They're going to try to attack you. They're going to pop out of nowhere. What terrifies you is when they go to a place like Terminus and all of a sudden there's people are just like insane. So it's interesting. That's the twist in Walking Dead. Like, my wife doesn't watch it, and I do. And she's like, I don't see why you like it so much. All it is these zombies that are walking around. I'm like, that's not the scary part. The scary part are the humans that's left. That's what's scary.
Absolutely. I mean, especially Negan.
Yeah, they're just all nuts. I mean, you don't have no idea what they are. So, I mean, and I think as Halloween is here, I think that's one of the things that you all should really think about tonight. As you're listening to this and not trick-or-treating, you should be thinking, what really terrifies me? What is it that makes me frightened? And then really think about that, because is it demons? Is it ghosts? Is it zombies? Is it technology? Is it heights? No matter what it is, enjoy it. Embrace it. Embrace your fear, because that's what Halloween is all about.
Absolutely. And plus, it can be fun sometimes.
It can be fun. Well, after the break, we're going to have some fun, Paul, because we have a very special guest. A renowned medium is going to be on the show, and we're going to hear all about what she has to say about crossing over and Ouija boards and intuition and all kinds of Halloween fun stuff. You're listening to the Michael Gaddis Show on AM 1170, The Answer.
AM 1170, The Answer.